Hello, everyone. My name is Andrea Ledger, and I will be covering Chapter 4, Ethics and Leadership Training. Ethical standards for group leaders. So this chapter discussed when you're facilitating a group counseling session, how the leader is to conduct themselves during those meetings. So the chapter starts off by saying the group counselor is expected to have a complete knowledge and understanding of the ethical standards established by a professional organization related to counseling and group work. A few of the professional organizations are American Counseling Association, ASC, National Association for Social Workers, NASW, American Psychological Association, APA, Association of Specialists in Group Work, ASGW, American Group Psychotherapy Association, AGPA, and Council of Accreditation of Counseling and Related Educational Programs, CACREP. Now, I don't know if these words are if the acronyms are pronounced or not, but I just said them. Okay. So next, we're going to talk about a few of the ethical standards that you may have heard in different professional fields that also apply to our counseling experience. These typically include the concept of no malfeasance, which is do no harm. We all know that we want to do what's in the best interest of our clients and protect them at all costs. And beneficence, which means work actively for the good of the clients, which means when we're doing our counseling, we're actively striving to help our clients to do what's right and to help them and to also be able to show them what they should, help them to decide what they should and should not do. Autonomy, promote the independence and self-sufficiency of the client. We want our clients to become independent, not to depend on us as their counselors and not to be able to make decisions, but to be able to start to trust their own decision making. Justice, to be fair to all parties involved. When we're doing a counseling session, we may deal with clients who may have conflict. We want to be fair and we want to talk to the clients and make sure that everybody feels heard and everybody feels supported. Fidelity, make sure that promises are kept. We should not promise anything to our clients that we cannot deliver. That's going to be so important. Also, not only for them to trust us, but also ethical. We're standing on what we're promising our clients. So we should not promise them anything that we're not sure we can deliver. Key elements of developing a group counselor. So as a new counselor, what do you do? How do you know what to do? Well, a few things that this chapter discusses. As a new counselor, we should be doing individual counseling like we should be doing in this program. And it says that this encounter can start to process the inward attention and investigation that will help counselors get self-aware. They need to work effectively with others. Although we may not always be completely satisfied with where we are in the struggle of dealing with life challenges, the attitude of self-examination is beneficial in preventing rigidity and inflexibility among group leaders. What that means is if we're in counseling dealing with our own issues, we won't bring those issues into our group sessions with our clients, which is going to be helpful for our clients because we're able to deal with our issues outside of the group counseling session. Specific course instructions and trainings. As the body of data supporting effective processes in group work grows, it becomes increasingly vital for leaders to become familiar with the variety of interview approaches that are specific to working with individuals in group. This means continue to attend training programs. Even when you think that you've gotten all the training you could possibly get, there's still something out there that you can learn. So continue to learn and grow in your training as a group counselor. Number 3, participation as a group member in group counseling. Also, not only as a leader, we should also be a participant in a group session. What that means is we need to understand what it's like on the client side of it when they're in a group counseling. And this section talks about as a member of a group, the leader can see and experience the group in its progress through stages. Despite the fact that this is not the primary reason for being in a group, members have an opportunity to observe another individual facilitate the group. The member can also use the experience to continue their personal self-study path, which means when you're in a group, you're watching the facilitator, you can adapt or adopt a few of their skills and tricks and trainings that they're doing for their group counseling. So it's beneficial to not only be a group leader, but to be a participant in a group counseling session. Number 4, supervised experience in facilitating a group. The final training component allows the new group leader to put his or her developing interventions and group management skills to the test with a live group that is appropriate for the new leader's ability level. So what this means, once you've got your personal counseling, you've got your training, your instructions, and you've joined a group counseling session, now let's put all this together. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you could do with your own group counseling session. So that's what these are the key elements of developing a group counselor that the book shares. Personal standards. The group leader should have clear set group rules that guide them in the leadership of a group. So these rules that we're about to cover right now are, as a new group leader, these are some foundational things that we should have when we're starting group counseling. Be confident and emotionally stable. Possess a high perceptual and communication skill. Sorry about that. Have a well-conceptualized model of explaining behavioral change. Have evidence that they have received training. Commiserate with a group practice. Sorry about that. Have necessary certification, licensure, and similar evidence of qualification. Attend refresher courses, workshops, and so on to upgrade their skills. So these are just the basic for personal standards as a new group leader. These are some things that we should be taking a look at, trying to get ready for our group counseling session. The ASGW, which we talked about in the first slide, and I will say their name again, which is the Association of Specialists in Group Work, ethical guidelines are a counselor's competency, recruitment and informed consent, screening and orientation of group members, participation of group members, voluntary participation, psychological risk, confidentiality, experimental research and tape recording, protecting members' rights, leader values and expectations, ensuring members' opportunities in the group, treating members equally, personal relationship, promoting members' independence and development of personal group, use of alcohol or drugs, and providing help after sessions and follow-up. So these are a few of the guidelines, the guidance that in the general area that this Association for Specialists of Group Work, this is what the kind of guidance that they offer in their guidelines, okay? So a couple of common ethical dilemmas. Now, informed consent. Professional disclosure statements are informed consent documents that are often required by state license boards and are mentioned in professional organizational standard. Verbal consent, it has its advantages. Providing a written document creates a record of consent and is critical for issues that might arise in the process of treatment and resulting complaints. So what this section talked about was sometimes we give a verbal consent, like, are you okay with me talking to you about this? But there's nothing to back that up. That's where the ethical dilemma can come from, because we don't know what's okay and what's not okay and what the client is comfortable with us sharing. So it's best to get it in writing so that we cover ourselves. Confidentiality, that's a big one. Most counseling ethical codes and guidelines consider confidentiality to be the most binding ethical principle. The confidence that group members place in the primary rules of confidentiality sets the stage for development of trust among the members and cohesion in the group. Trust and cohesions are the building blocks for productive work in the group. So it's absolutely important that when we have our group sessions, that we talk about confidentiality and we talk about what stays here, what we say in here stays in here, and that the clients understand that at what time that they will become comfortable and will start to share. But they have to see the confidentiality in action. So what that means is you can't talk about something that may have happened in a previous group, because therefore they will not trust that their confidentiality will be kept in your session. So it's very important that we don't share examples from other groups in our group sessions, so that would breach our confidentiality. Dual relationships. Now this one was a deep topic, because group leaders are to avoid dual relationships with group members that might impair their objectivity and professional judgment, as well as those which are likely to compromise a group member's ability to participate fully in the group. So in this section, it talked about two different relationships. It talked about counseling a family member, and it talked about a counselor having a relationship with an attendee of a group session. So with the dual relationship, the first one with having a family member, you should not be counting a family member or a friend, because that dual relationship, it will not end well. It will not end well. So it's best to not have a dual relationship. If you have a customer or client come to your session and that you're related to, or maybe you may ask them, pull them to the side and ask them, hey, would you mind seeing someone else because of our relationship? I don't want it to interfere with that. And so after having that conversation, most of our clients probably would understand and accept going to a different support group or group counseling session. So it's best to avoid all dual relationships if you're going to be a group counselor, okay? So here are a few leadership training components. Observation model allows the student, which is the new counselor, to observe master group leaders facilitate groups. Students watch, take notes, and can be directed by the instructor to notice specific processes and leadership dynamic. The observation model allows students to learn directly about groups without being confronted with the anxiety and responsibility of leading a group. So observation model is pretty much what Mr. Solis asked us to do, to go sit into a group counseling and observe. That is what the observation model is. We're taking notes, we're paying attention to how the facilitator facilitates the group, how the group interact with the facilitator, and things that maybe we could adopt, or maybe some things that we may be like, oh, okay, that was helpful, or I liked how they transitioned this situation to the next. That is observation model. Field-based model. One of the most powerful learning activity accessible to students is the field-based leadership experience. Despite the usual trepidation that comes with a first group leadership experience, the feedback has been overwhelmingly favorable. Written feedback is collected anonymously at the end of each course, despite the fact that data has not been examined in the systematic fashion. Students have regularly rated the out-of-class group co-leader experience as one of the top 2 learning experience accessible to them through the course of over the previous 20 years. So field-based is basically the student paying attention to the first group, providing the instructor with feedback. So the new person would get their feedback and learn. And then it's not so much that, oh, this person don't like me. It's just like feedback, and it's anonymous, and then you collect it at the end of the session, which is a great way to learn because you're getting all this feedback and you're still new. So you're able to add all that into your training. The next one is simulated group counseling model. Is designed to combine the element of group members' experience and leadership training into one experience. Students form one group and rotate, playing the role of a member and leader and an observer. So this is role play. That's just another word for it. It's role play. Each person in the group, we form a group, and each person takes turn being the leader, facilitator, and the observer. So that is a good way, and that's also a counseling method, is to observe and also able to provide feedback to the members of your team. Lastly, group actor model is a hybrid combining elements of 3 previous discussed models. Students form co-leader pairs and are responsible for co-leading one group session. While the co-leader pairs is facilitating the group, the other student observes the group. In this model, the student learns from the direct and observational learning. Each session may be videotaped for later review in or out of class. So this is a combination of the other models that we discussed, but the difference is this one is recorded and you're able to watch yourself back when in or out of class. So that, I think that one is a great learning opportunity because you're able to see yourself and you're able to get like, oh, okay, I didn't know I talk with my hands, or, oh, I could have said this, or I didn't pay attention to the body language of this client. So it's an eye opener activity. So I do like the group actor model best. So that concludes chapter 4, and I hope that I have answered any of your concerns about chapter 4, and thank you for your time. Bye, guys.